Hello again, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome back to the garage. I am answering the call of a Dram Divided who said, can you stock a bar for 250 euros or about 370 Canadian? I've decided to answer in 3 videos. This is the second video. First one was how to stock for 300 or less Canadian. This one, I've given myself another 100 bucks. So now I'm really playing into that challenge. I've got about $400 Canadian to play with, and I'm going to do the same number of bottles in the same configuration. So we're going to do 8 bottles, Canadian, Rye, Bourbon, Irish, and Scotch. So if you stay with me, I will give you my thoughts on how to stock your bar from nothing to, hey, this is pretty decent, for 400 or less Canadian. 3, 4. All right, thanks for staying with me through the opener. As I said, a Dram Divided challenged anyone on YouTube to do this. So I'm answering that challenge, you guys. And this one, I'm going to say, can we stock a bar for less than 400 Canadian? So let's start with Canadian. I still am trying to play into what would be a nice step up. My first one was Copper Pot. Here I'm thinking, let's go into some of those new evolving craft distilleries. And I picked Signal Hill. I know I didn't give it a huge, amazing review, but actually it's a quality release. It's a little bit more than Copper Pot, but it still offers a lot of value. Another one in that range would be, Western Grains, Rupert's, that kind of thing. But I think of those 3, Signal Hill is a Canadian that's just a little off the entrance level. Then we go Rye, and you know what? Rye, I was going to reveal later what am I drinking, but I'll tell you what I'm drinking. Lot 40. In my market, this is almost like the best rye I can find on a lot of, entrance or beyond, but certainly in this category, Lot 40 all the way. Then I was thinking, okay, bourbon. I'm trying to play off this, and I'm trying to keep 2 bourbon picks, one like a regular ABV and one more at a cask strength. So you might be thinking, like just the first one, I didn't pick Wild Turkey 101 instead. I said, hey, what about Old Grandad? And this one, I'm sure you're putting money down on Knob Creek 9, and I love that bourbon. But you'll see why, because I'm trying to pick a variety. It doesn't make the list. So instead, the list, I'm going to pick Elijah Craig. I'm hoping they're coming back with a 12-year-old. I prefer the 12 quite a bit over small batch, but I like Elijah Craig quite a bit in my market. It's affordable, so it definitely earns a spot on the bar. Then let's answer with that cask or barrel proof or big proof, and that is Knob Creek single barrel. Knob Creek single barrels are really, in some, like whether they're a store pick or a non-store pick, are always on my shelf. They're such a good value, such good flavor, and so that's why I didn't put Knob Creek 9 on the list, because I thought, hey, we're going for a bit of variety. Let's stock the bar, and I really want a Knob Creek single barrel hanging on the bar. So then let's go over to Irish, and I want it to be a step up over the entrance, but not like, boy, there are certain classes of whiskey that are tough for me to go from, okay to really good without adding up in price. And then I recently went through, like, what have I had recently for Irish that I really like, that's still very affordable, and it's Jameson Black Barrel. Jameson Black Barrel, affordable in my market, definitely gives you a little more oak. I really like it. So that gets the Irish in this sort of mid-tier. Then we're going to go over to Scotland, right? We got 3 Scotches. And again, I was trying to find, one Scotch that's a little more, more bourbon or that kind of thing. And then one that's sherry and then one that's peat. And had a heck of a time trying to keep it under 400 bucks. Scotch is another that's tough. And, I'm pulled to integrity marks, right? I'm looking at Aaron 10, I'm looking at, but I ended up saying, it's got to be something I've reviewed, and got to be something that I truly enjoy, forget whether it's integrity or not. And in that case, I went Glenfiddich 14 bourbon cask. It's a great value in my market, continues to be a great value, and I really love the flavor on that. So I thought, okay, that's on my bar. Glenfiddich 14 barrel, bourbon barrel or something like that. Yeah. Then I needed a sherry, and I thought for sure I was going to do Glendronach 12, but it's actually really hard to find for me and priced pretty expensive. So then I looked at Abelard 12 and Glenfarclas, and I was looking, okay, and then I realized if I'm going to stock a bar, I have to have Bunnahabhain 12 on there. Now, Bunnahabhain 12, people think because it's from Islay that it might have peat, and if there's a peat in there, it's a whiff. Like they waved peat over there. We're talking like at most 5 parts per million. Anyways, there's incredibly little peat in there, but I get lots of good, thick, resinous sherry and chocolate mixed in with, like, I know it's not a sherry bomb, but it is on that edge, and I just love Bunnahabhain 12. It's got to be on my bar, and it's affordable in my market. So now I'm looking at peat, and this is a light peat, but it's a great release, and that's Highland Park 12. It really, I know it also has sherry influence, but now we definitely have more peat. That 12 to 14 parts per million, I think, is what they're quoted at, and should be on this kind of mid-level bar, right? So those are 8 releases that will give you from Canadian to rye, bourbon, Irish, and 3 different scotches, and we're still under 400 Canadian. And I think that really answers a Dram Divided's call to try to get to that 250 euro. So those are 8 bottles. I'm happily stand behind it. As I said earlier, what am I sipping from that list? What is basically always on my shelf, and that's Lot 40 Rye. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.